Orlando, 49 people were killed. Of course, we keep hearing 50 people were killed, but one of those people is the gunman. So 49 victims killed, 53 injured. This was at Pulse Nightclub in Orlando, a gay nightclub. I think we should talk about his history because there is a number of different conflicting reports. Some people saying he was a refugee when he was born here in the United States. He is of Afghan descent, but he was born in the United States. He was actually born in New York, lived in Florida. So I think we need to talk about the details, and then we can talk about guns in America, because I think that's the larger conversation. But the details of this is he entered this nightclub around 2 a.m. He holed up in a bathroom. That's where he was, and he had hostages with him. The police had to break through the bathroom and create this hole for people to escape. That's when he came out of this hole that they broke into the bathroom, and that's when he began shooting again. And I don't even know where to begin, except for the fact that, there's been so many different reports on Facebook about him being on the terrorist watch list. The FBI did interview him twice, but he was not on the terrorist watch list. Okay, so they interviewed him twice because of quote unquote inflammatory remarks made to a colleague, but they closed that investigation and did not see him as a threat or as a terrorist.
And he worked in security.
And he worked in security.
For like 9 years.
For 9 years, he was able to carry a gun. In Florida, I believe you can anyway, can't you?
Yeah.
So the police said that he phoned them from the toilet and made a pledge of allegiance to ISIS. Now, the father is saying that he was not aware of any sort of connection to ISIS. He didn't even describe his son as being extreme. He did say that his son had witnessed a kiss. 2 men kissing in Miami, and he said that his son lost it. And then this shooting shortly happened, and he had a number of guns on him, including the AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, which shouldn't even be legal. We can talk about that as well, because again, I think having the conversation about gun control is where this conversation we've seen is going all over on social media.
There's a lot to wade through, a lot. To start with the allegiance to ISIS, you can pledge allegiance to ISIS. ISIS does not ever have to talk to you. So when you go through all the different groups that he was pledging allegiance to, like a lot of them are in conflict with one another. But this guy seemed like he was uneducated about what he was supporting. He just knew he wanted to do this and chalked it up to any kind of other reasons. In terms of the FBI watch list versus a no-fly list or a list that keeps you from getting guns, it's difficult because a lot of our country was based on our ability to be free from being watched by the government. We have certain levels of privacy. And the FBI, the head of the FBI today was like, listen, we're going to look over what we did wrong, and I don't know what we could have done more without breaking your right to free speech. The top 2 amendments are the ones in question here. Right to free speech and to keep and bear arms. And they were like, listen, we know, like, and everyone can say anything in this country, and it's really tough. We got really close. And given the laws that we have now, we couldn't go any farther. But that doesn't mean we can't change the laws we have now. I mean, yeah, there's so much. But like the AR-15
I don't think an assault, I don't think a ban on assault weapons, like the one we had for a decade between 1994 and 2004, is necessarily unconstitutional, though. Like, I don't think it eliminates your Second Amendment.
Yeah, I don't think the founding fathers ever intended to have AR-15s.
Yeah, but they did. But they
no, it's supposed to be regulated militia.
Right, so that's fine. But that would imply that you would have an AR-15
An AR-15
rifle. A militia is what you use to go take down a tyrannical oppressor, which we just got done with, like in their mind. So yes, it's very difficult. The thing is, the assault weapons ban is pretty awesome. It did good things, but there's something very specific that if you have time to go, and we should put a link into this. President Obama talking to PBS a week ago, he was like, I was in a meeting this morning where I was told this guy's he's an ISIS sympathizer, a known ISIS sympathizer, and I can put him on a no-fly list. But because of our gun regulations in America, I can't keep him from going and buying an AR-15 assault rifle.
Do you know how many days you
NRA
need to
is
obtain
regularly
an AR-15? Do you know how many
lobbying
days
for
you
it.
need
What?
to obtain an AR-15? 0. Do you know how many rounds per minute? 45. 45 minutes per round, designed specifically to kill and damage as quickly as possible.
You need to go steal someone's HBO Go account, go watch the Real
Brian
Sports
Gumbel.
on the AR-15 assault rifle, where they interview the creator of the gun, who's like, I designed this gun for war, and this is the kind of gun where I designed it so that the rounds tumble through a body, and it's crazy because you could shoot someone in the foot and it could kill them.
And they asked point blank if you think this gun has any civilian usage, and he says no. Like he thinks that it's
And the people who argue for the use of this gun as a hunting instrument, it's even past that. Because the whole idea of hunting, if you're a sportsman, you want to be able to stalk your prey and shoot it
and a clean kill, so you can actually use it.
Right.
Like you can use the animal that you've killed.
That anyone who backs the hunting argument, it isn't even that anymore, and they don't even make that argument as much anymore because they say it's a sport rifle. It's classified as a sport rifle, and they've invented sports, storming and killing sports, where it simulates like how fast you can run through a bunker and shoot a bunch of things and run out. Like, that's the competition. And so essentially, it's training for stuff like this. It's just so frustrating that, and the PBS thing that Obama did is specifically catered to answer the question to someone who's like, why do you want to take away our guns? Why do the Democrats want to take away our guns? And Obama's just like, I've never done that. He said, he compares it to auto fatalities. And he's like, people were dying in cars. And we wanted to know why. So we studied it. And we found out they didn't have seatbelts. We didn't bank roads right, and everything else. Like, now cars tell you when you're going to bump into something. And I had a car that it was like, we think you're getting tired. And it would beep and vibrate. And I'm just a bad driver, but it would do that. And he says, I can't even study that. The NRA, Congress won't let me even study what the problem is. It's difficult. Haas, you should talk about the specifics about how people want to ban. People are good with background checks, but what's stopping the legislation from changing?
So when you look at all these tragedies, usually there's some sort of legislation. Like, legislators are out, they're not evil. Like, they're out there, they wanna enact some sort of change, right? And Pat Toomey proposed a bipartisan bill twice now. One after, I believe it was, which one came first? Aurora and then maybe Sandy Hook. Like, the latest one was after Sandy Hook, where it didn't get enough votes to go on the floor. It got less than the first time around because the NRA doubled up on their efforts in lobbying. And it's like, I understand being pragmatic. I understand being motivated by some sort of, financial obligation to your investors, or that you want to make sure that you can sell as many guns as possible. But this is so clear cut that, like, on both sides of the aisle, people are saying people are
for background checks.
For background checks. Expanding background checks is the most obvious. It's not even a good enough solution, but it's an obvious first step to take, especially because, these are machines that you use strictly for the purpose of killing. And the fact that there are still 40% of all guns being sold in America, and this is an estimate, is still without any sort of background checks, is ridiculous. Like, and the majority of people want it. The American public agrees on this, whether you're a Republican, whether you're a Democrat, doesn't matter. We want it, but we can't get it.
But
because
there's a loss in translation, and I don't know what it is, because when I have gun control debates, sometimes on Facebook, I just saw it this weekend, they're not hearing that I'm asking for more regulation and control and more measures to be taken. They immediately think that I'm taking away their Second Amendment. They don't even listen that I'm just saying, no. So it's this narrative that's being spoken about on Fox News, where they don't say that we're trying to do better, whether it's more mental health care, because guess what? This shooter, this killer's ex-wife, is saying that he was deranged and had severe mental health issues.
Bipolar as well, I think, yeah.
And used to beat her if she didn't do the laundry correctly. So yes, we have a gun problem in America. Yes, we have a mental health care problem in America. We have an empathy problem in America. There's so much that we have to deal with. But when I feel like and I shouldn't generalize everyone that's on the the other side, but I feel like that I get pushed up against the wall when I try and speak of gun control, that all of a sudden that I'm trying to take away your Second Amendment, when I'm just saying things like more background checks, AR-15s. There's 3.3 million AR-15s in America. There shouldn't be any.
Every time a mass shooting occurs, the sales go up because people are worried that they're going to take away those guns.
That's propaganda.
I think,
that
and they're
the
also
right
worried-
is.
I mean, there's an argument for I'm using this to defend myself.
Yeah.
And okay, good. Yes. So I'm going to the same way that, like, when you get a car, when you want to drive a car, you take a test, you learn about it. If you've committed a crime, I will not let you do it because, we suspend people's licenses for lots of reasons.
Right.
But those things you're worried about, I'm not worried about them with you. I just want to make sure, specifically in these cases, where someone's on a watch list, and then if the FBI's has interviewed this guy with concerns, and he buys he goes to buy an assault rifle. That's it. That's where I'm focused.
By the way,
now,
Grace.
I'm focused on that too.
By the way, the watch list thing is also still, like, I'm going to mention this in the video I'm doing right now, but it is a very tricky precedent to set because the watch list has over 1 million people.
Yeah.
It's not the no-fly list, which is much smaller and much better crafted. And you don't know if you're on the watch list. I could be on a watch list right now. Any one of us in this room could be on a watch list currently and not know it. And even if you ask the government, they will respond with I can neither confirm nor deny.
And that is something I get. That's part of the discussion because I know, like, believe me. And Florida, you go to Florida and it's covered in, the Cubans in Florida are the ones going like, stay the fuck away from my guns. Because the reason I'm not in Cuba anymore is because they took them away and took all my property.
Yeah.
And that's the Cuban Revolution is that. And I totally understand that.
Right.
And I get that in an increased surveillance, the classic discussion is security versus privacy.
Yeah.
And yes, but let's at least start that conversation because I guarantee we can find things. And like, I hear that, but I guarantee we can find things that we all agree on, all of us reasonable people.
Get Grace in on the conversation.
Sorry, I know I've been listening. I don't know if I can talk about it without getting emotional. That's kind of why I'm listening.
I know.
So here's what I'll say. This was my community that was killed. I hang out at gay clubs. I love them. It's fucking scary. It was really, really scary news to wake up to because if I lived in Orlando, I'd be fucking at Pulse. I'd be having a great time with my girlfriend. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize. Please don't apologize.
So this one, there have been a lot of shootings since I moved to the U.S. They happen fucking all the time. I was really sad after Sandy Hook.
Also an AR-15.
I didn't think I could feel any deeper of a pit until yesterday when I found out about this. So this one hurts. And I hear you guys being pragmatic, and I hear it. It's a conversation we need to have. Privacy, security, I hear you, Brett. But this shit doesn't happen outside of the US. There was an interview with a girl from Belgium after what happened in UCLA, another shooting. And she was like, I've heard about these shootings that you have in the US. I didn't think they were real. And they're real. And everyone's talking about the Second Amendment, and I know I sound really stupid because, it's protected by the Constitution. I understand that. I wasn't raised here, okay? I don't understand this obsession. Why with guns? I don't get it. I don't see it. I don't want to. Why we have to protect them? Just take them away. Like that, and everyone, it's just like this thing that's ingrained in American culture, and that I don't understand. And I'm saying that I don't understand that. But like, how do you guys, after all this is going on? This one hurts. This one really hurts. This one was
I know. And
so yeah, I want to listen to you guys. I think you're having a really great discussion, and I'm a little too emotional about this one.
I know. And Pride was this weekend, and we went to Pride. You had a Pride party. You were excited. You woke up to the news. You also heard news that there was a man in Santa Monica that apparently had guns and explosives and was on his way to Pride. Thank God he got caught. But that's how real it is. That's how real it is. And we get desensitized. And we were talking about this before the show because it happens so frequently. There have been
354 in 2015.
354 mass shootings in 2015. That accounts for more than 4 people being shot. That's what accounts for a mass shooting or injured. Now,
and not the shooter itself.
Now, people have become so desensitized. There's been a number of social media accounts that have come forward from some of the victims. And we were debating whether or not we should show one of the snaps from one of the victims' Snapchats because you see her there and you hear it. But I think it's important to know how real this is.
At the club. I'm at the club.
Chills. Chills. So it's disgusting. I'm so sick of having these conversations. And it's so sad. And the investigators were saying, when they were, because still they're working on identifying all the victims because they first want to make sure that they talk to everybody involved in the families before they release names.
At shooting, it was 48. At the filming of this, it's 48 of 49 have been identified.
And
like 38 of 49 have been, their families have been notified.
One of the saddest things I heard was when the EMTs
That's what I was just going to say. Please say. Yeah.
When the EMTs were entering the scene of the crime, and you could hear hundreds of phones ringing on the ground, and they were the families of the victims trying to contact their friends, their sons, their daughters.
America is a place where you can hate people. You can. It's protected by our First Amendment. You can hate people. Don't shoot them. You can be upset with someone. You can say it. That's very powerful. People have died for your right to be able to say it. But don't shoot people. Voice it wherever, but you're that person. You're the person that you're victimizing because you have thoughts, you have beliefs, so do they. Allow those people to have their beliefs. They're having a great time at the club. I guarantee if you got to know them, you'd like them. Give it a chance. And this is a good point, I think, because we've all experienced the reality of it, how real it feels, what happened. We've had a chance to really feel it, and we need to do that. Because I, more than anyone, am tempted to just jam through it and don't let it affect you at all. Crack a joke, move on. We've all felt it today. Now we need to focus on what happens next. So contact your congressperson, because your congressperson probably, specifically what's happening is, your congressperson wants your vote. The way they get your vote is by getting money from people who finance their campaign so they can tell you what they believe. So it's either you going forward and saying, I will not vote for you unless you use common sense gun legislation. Because if you don't do that, they're going to say, oh, but I'm getting paid by someone who's financing my campaign to make posters and get the word out and pull me through what is essentially the baseball farming system. It's AAA. It's AA. The minor leagues. They have a minor leagues that they've all set up for how to bring politicians who are nice to them higher and higher over time. But they can't do that unless you vote and you tell them what to do. The other thing is identify specifically from the shooter what you should learn. In July, there will be a march in Washington from Muslim leaders who are saying, he is not a Muslim. This is a shithead. Anyone affiliated with ISIS, a lot of them there's books about how a lot of people get pulled into these because they're themselves, yes, in really shitty situations. They don't have a teenage part of their life. And so the same way people get pulled into gangs in Los Angeles, they get pulled into ISIS abroad. What they're doing is not representative of entire religion. So in July, keep an eye out for it. There'll be a march in Washington of people saying, no, this is what we stand for. Everyone knows we just watched CNN for like 6 hours, was Muhammad Ali's funeral. Where like people who are Muslims saying like, this is what we believe, this is the good stuff. There's over 1 billion people who are part of this religion. And then things that have already been done. The following day in Los Angeles, Pride. People went out. They weren't letting it affect them in a way that kept them from living who they are.
The thousands of people that were in line waiting for up to 7 hours to donate blood in Orlando, and there were Muslims there as well. And it's really, I mean, it's great to see stuff like that. It's just that this tragedy is so fucking insane that.
And it goes on. It goes on. Everybody goes on living. That made it through. But don't let the people who died go unhonored by doing something about it.
Yeah.
We do, with that being said, unless anybody else has any more to add, we do have a list of the names, and we just want to have like a moment of silence for them, okay? So thank you for listening. Please continue the conversation, and let's please take a moment of silence.